Good evening there, YouTube. Needlebender 785 Ohio with just a fun video of how I got started with tubes and just what got me into tubes a long time ago and how I actually learned the whole process, and it was actually how I had a lot of fun doing it, and um, brought out one of my first projects ever that I've actually put together. This thing is about 10 years old, as you can see. It's kind of, the tube's going out on it already, but it still works. I actually didn't, I've thought about making this video for a while, but I didn't know that this thing still worked. It's not working very well, but it is still working. And you can see the tubes on it kind of old, and but it is still working. Thing is over 10 years old by now, and as everything inside is absolutely built by hand. There's not a single circuit board or anything like that. Everything is put together, and all the circuit boards are homemade, if you will. And this is a 3BP1, 3 Bravo Papa 1, 3-inch oscilloscope tube that I got for 20 bucks on eBay. That was my first tube I've ever played with, and I know it's a CRT, but that was kind of what got me into learning these things. And I built a clock. That was my first project with high voltage and tubes and all that stuff. So, and it still works. Time on it is not correct because I didn't bother setting it. I just wanted to kind of bring out this thing, and I can't believe it still works. Not very well, but it still does. Needs a new tube, I guess. But anyway, so many years ago, I decided, always had the fascination with tubes and how an electron gun works and electron beam, and trying to control that, and got some circuits online. Here's one of them. That's actually straight out of the manufacturer of this tube. It's a vintage circuit. It comes out straight from the people who made this tube, and I just decided to copy it. Changed a few values. I took a few capacitors out and applied the voltage right there. Everything is really simple. And here we have a modern circuit. If you look at this oscilloscope, this is a digital oscilloscope, and we have a clock on there. I know the program is newer and there's some interference from stuff that's running in the room, but here we are. So we have this little it's called an ESP32 board that I program myself using, let's see, Arduino code. And you can set different time zones, your own Wi-Fi and stuff like that, and it actually shows you current time, and it gets it from the NTP server, National Time Server. So you can see it's let's see, 5:46 local time, and it's 5:46 now. There's no way to set time on this, so it's automatic. So we take this signal right here and we run it through one of these little devices. It's a deflection plate deflection amplifier, and that allows me to control the deflection on these plates over here. And then that displays the image here on the, as you can see on the CRT. Now I know this, the firmware, the software, what I got now, what I was able to get now is way more sophisticated. It actually shows digits, and compared to what I had 10-12 years ago. But the idea is very similar. I've actually I played around. I think I still have a circuit laying around somewhere where you can take a standard video input from like a camera or one of those little webcams or whatnot. Just a little RCA input. You can display it on here. Now the resolution is going to be awful, but you'll be able to see yourself. And I have played around with that and was successful. Like I said, it was just kind of just for demonstration purposes only, but it worked. So there's a lot of different adjustments on here. For example, this one moves the image left and right. This one shrinks it left and right. It's all part of the same amplifier, moves it up and down. So there's two different deflection amplifiers. There's a lateral, there's an X and a Y. So we're controlling the X-axis and the Y-axis here. There's four different electrodes. You also have what do you call it? You can change the clarity on it, and there's astigmatism, which is the reference of the voltage, the anode voltage, to the plate deflection. And it actually seems to have settled down. This tube might just need it to kind of sit around for a bit, but it actually seems to be working. God damn, I actually did not think this was going to work. You just got the seconds on the bottom there, it's ticking there. And here's the more modern version, except this one's on a digital oscilloscope. I just plugged it in, threw some code on there that I have been working on, and all I have to do is come up with a very similar circuit, and I'm going to make a more modern version of this. That's going to be my clock. But at least I got the signal part out of the way. So the deflection amplifier runs on about 400 volts. It needs about, I have these power supplies that I get for like $2. They're 380 volt power supplies. They take 12 volts in and get 380 volts out. And then they you can control them with this deflection amplifier. You can control the plates like that, and you can display whatever you want. Obviously you have to have a symbol. I call this a symbol generator, to generate a symbol to display on it. Otherwise you're not going to really have much to display. You'll be able to have a dot, and you'll be able to move it up and down, but you won't be able to generate an actual symbol. And that's a symbol generator, what we have here and in there. This one's, like I said, is a much older clock that I made. A couple of YouTube channels that I want to attribute my successes in this to is a guy named Ben, Applied Science. He runs a channel called Applied Science. I've been watching pretty much all of his videos from day one, and he did a lot of makeshift tubes and CRT tubes and scanning electron microscope. I did attempt to build one of those, and that was a lot of fun. However, it did not come out as I liked it to be, but there's some interference from stuff running here. There's no shielding or anything like that. Anyway, so kind of just thought I'd make this fun video on how I got into tubes and how I still make stuff like this when I don't build amplifiers and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. Looks like this my first ever CRT driver actually came to life, and the tube is working fine now. It's not flickering anymore. Things have warmed up, and it looks like it's after about several years in the attic just sitting around, it just actually came to life. All I got to do is set the time. Here we go. Let's see where we got 5:51. That's PM. Let's see if we can do that. There we go. Yeah, I still make these things mostly for fun, but like I said, they're for what you can get one in Chinese made. I mean, they're not cheap to make, and there's a lot of labor and adjustment goes in there. But anybody interested, drop me a line. I'll share some schematics or where I got this symbol generator from, or how to build one yourself. But just thought I'd make this fun video on having fun with tubes. But again, just a disclaimer here. A lot of this stuff, not what you're seeing here. This is all low voltage, because everything that comes out here is 5 volts max. When you're playing around with tubes, you're dealing with this tube right here is 2100 volts. most of this one 22 to 2100 volts. So now this is very low current. Well, you still got to use same precautions you run when you use when you're playing with tubes. You know, it's high voltage. There's this actually has a very high current power supply in it. I overbuilt it. It can probably do 100 milliamps, which is, you wouldn't think that's a lot, but it's definitely a lot for high voltage. I used the type of rectifier that I use, because the transformer is in here, only does 400 volts. I use something called a Cockcroft-Walton voltage multiplier, 3 stages, and that doubles and triples the voltage. So kind of just wanted to make this fun video, how I got into tubes and how I learned to control tubes and play around with them many years ago. Anyway, thought this would be a fun video, 73s, and we'll get you in the next one. Needlebender 785 Ohio, back on the side.